Good afternoon from Eurocontrol in Brussels. It's good to have everybody online again today for the 11th Eurocontrol Aviation Hard Talk, and today we welcome Willie Walsh, the founding CEO of IAG. So Andrew, we'll introduce him later. So if I could just start today and say, as you know, we're all in the midst of a major global pandemic at the moment, something that I think even people as experienced as Willie Walsh have not seen before. So it's a new experience for all of us. And we've started to become into the second wave of the pandemic in Europe. As you can remember, we had the first wave in early in the year, and we're now facing a kind of a different situation. Numerous diagnoses, deaths are a little bit less, but huge challenges for governments all over Europe to try and control the pandemic, but also to deal with it in some kind of a coordinated fashion. The effects that this have had on us, though, is very, very difficult. Just looking at Europe, you can see that in comparing it with 2019, we're 51% down on traffic intra-Europe, which is basically a huge deterioration in the market. And what's very significant is long-haul travel for some of the long-haul carriers, particularly IAG and Lufthansa, 71% down across the North Atlantic. So really, to a large degree, there's nothing going as normal except for cargo. And it's very, very difficult to see how we move out of this. Only recently we saw that Australia don't intend to have long-haul flights back until first quarter of next year. So we're facing a significant challenge. It's also worthwhile looking at where we are in the European network. Normally, in a day, we have 37,000 flights. Yesterday, we had 15,000. So we're at 45% of where we are. The big problem I've got at the moment is we were making significant progress right up until the middle of August, when we got a large amount of haphazard quarantines and travel restrictions been imposed on us by governments, particularly the UK with Spain, UK with Portugal, France, Croatia. All of these type of things have happened, and we're seeing that there's not a coordinated response throughout Europe, and this is really killing the industry. Looking at it from an airline point of view, if you look at the largest network carrier in Europe, Ryanair, it's 51% down on the same day last year. And what's really concerning me is in the last 2 weeks, it's deteriorated by a further 4%, EasyJet by 2%, and you can see Air France by 9%. So rather than stabilising, actually what's bad to report is the situation at the moment is getting worse in Europe, in that we're seeing less flights, less network carriers operating, and we're seeing smaller load factors. Because we have Willie here today as former CEO, you can see that, BA 4% reduction in the last number of weeks, Vueling, very typical at the low cost, 13 down, Iberia, and of course Aer Lingus. So all in all, for airlines, it's not good news for Europe. And the same applies for airports. If you look at the airport situation, it's more or less the same, even worse. 74% reduction in airport traffic just in the last year. And what's really significant is we're not seeing any improvement. We're not seeing any breakthrough. We're not seeing anything in terms of testing. We're not seeing any easy solution to this. So we're looking at a very difficult winter ahead of us, and this is something that's going to be a big challenge. Last week, we issued new predictions and draft traffic scenarios. Very sorry to say that we had to revise them down the way. In April, we had a very good traffic prediction that went right up to the end of August, tracked the demand right within 1%. Now we're looking at significant reductions. And to be honest to everybody here, I'm a little worried that actually even the red line might be a little optimistic. So we're looking at a situation where airlines are losing, billions. The air traffic system is losing billions. The airports are losing billions. And this is causing us very significant issues. One thing I would say is a bit of good news is the EU Council proposal from the Commission for a harmonised approach to travel restrictions. I very much welcome this, but it's really important we get some kind of a harmonised testing protocol as well. And what's most important is that the states do not cherry pick. We know it's not mandatory. We know health is not part of the EU competence, but at the end of the day, everybody should take the system in total and implement it in total. Because what's killing us at the moment is we're dealing with different regimes. So as I said in our last podcast, We have a common virus. We should have a common response. In similar circumstances, states should do similar things, but this is not happening. Sometimes what we're seeing is crazy. So just to finish, it would be useful just to mention today that Commissioner Vallon announced the new package of Single European Sky proposals today, and we very much welcome those.